Thank you for listening to Creative Control, a listener-funded podcast. If you would like to help and support Creative Control and keep this podcast going, please visit patreon.com/Creative Control and make a monthly flexible donation today. FET.NAT is a remarkable musical outfit primarily based in Hull, Quebec, consisting of drummer Olivier Fairfield, guitarist Pierre-Luc Clément, saxophonist Lindsay Wellman, and nihilistic franglais poet and vocalist JFNO. FET.NAT reflect the best of post-punk, improvisational jazz, trip-hop, and whatever other genres you can think of that ostensibly operate in the name of true freedom. On February 28, 2019, Boiled Records released the seventh title by FET.NAT, a spirited concept album of sorts called Le Mal, which is comprised of two sides, each containing MIDI reinterpretations of the other. Le Mal was recently shortlisted for Canada's Polaris Music Prize, which means it's on a top 10 list chosen by music critics and could win a huge cash prize when the award winner is announced on September 16th in Toronto. At the 2019 edition of Sappy Fest in Sackville, New Brunswick, which took place during the first weekend of August, I caught up with three members of FET.NAT just ahead of their main stage set, and we discussed this Polaris Music Prize nomination, how this band came together, JFNO's unique contributions to FET.NAT, and his fascinating background as a performer. We talked about each and every song on Le Mal and more. A part of the E1 Podcast Network with the support of listeners like you who subscribe to this podcast and spread the word about it, and make flexible monthly donations at patreon.com/Creative Control, plus in-kind support from CFRU 93.3 FM, Pizza Trokadero, The Bookshelf, and Planet Bean Coffee in Guelph, and Grandad's Donuts in Hamilton. This is the 494th episode of Creative Control, featuring three members of the excellent band FET.NAT, with your host, me, Vish Khanna. Hello, FET.NAT. How are you?
Very well.
How are you?
It's nice to be here with you in your van.
Yeah.
Have you ever had an interviewer in your van before?
Yes, we have. In fact,
yes.
We did one. I think it was a podcast.
Yeah.
What? That's what this is.
Oh,
Is it?
So we know what we're doing.
This is a podcast van.
And
It's
video also.
Oh, you did a video.
Yeah, we did quite few.
Okay, you've done a number of interviews in this van. This is not breaking new ground for you. Is what we've agreed
Yeah,
upon.
but it's been a while though. So if
Okay,
that
good.
can, you
Well,
know.
it's nice to be. We're in Sackville, New Brunswick,
Yeah.
for Sappy Fest. You're about to play, so thank you for making time for me. I want to begin by asking each of you to introduce yourselves one at a time, so that the people listening can, connect a voice to a name. So why don't we begin with the driver?
I'm JFNO.
JFNO, it's nice to speak with you. I can only see the back of your head.
Is it okay?
Yeah. Oh, I can see you in the mirror. Your back of your head is looking great. JFNO.
I see
Thank
you
very
in the
much.
mirror too.
Thank you for your time. Let's move on to the passenger.
Hello, my name is Olivier Fairfield.
Hi, Olivier. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
It's good to have you here. And wow, that was a lot of smoke that you have just blown into the van. You guys all smoke. It's amazing. No one smokes anymore, real cigarettes. Everyone vapes and does other things, right?
Yeah.
We talk
Maybe.
about this quite a bit. Yeah.
We don't like smoking that much. I don't know. 100% tobacco.
Right. Right. Okay. Well, I didn't mean to go on a tangent there. You, sir, please.
My name is Pierre-Luc Clément.
Pierre-Luc, thank you
Hello,
for
Vish.
thank you so much for making time for me. Yes.
Thank you.
Now, first of all, congratulations. Not too long ago, you were shortlisted for this Polaris Music Prize. How are you all feeling about this? Let's start with Olivier.
Well, I mean, it's a bit hard to define how we feel about it. We talk about it quite a lot, but mostly we're just very surprised.
Are you surprised because of the kind of music you make?
Well, not really because of that. Mostly because, honestly, we've never operated in the realm that leads to such an event or a prize, whatever. So for that, it is very surprising.
That's probably a testament to your band and the sound you're making, that you weren't even trying to get nominated for something, and the greatness of it, if I may, just resonated enough with these people that they voted for you. That's good. It's not a bad thing.
No, I mean,
no, it's not a bad thing. It's hard, I think, to judge for us what it does. But yes, no, it's not a bad thing.
Have any of you in your long careers, whether you were children or teenagers or men, ever won a music award?
Well, some small scale or a smaller scale, I think, like for theater soundtracks. I think me and Olivier had one and nominated in some others.
There you go.
Yeah, we've won some awards. I've been to several awards, such as the Polaris, but I've never won.
That's right.
I can tell you that.
Olivier, who else do you play with that might have been nominated for a Polaris Music Prize?
Timbre Timbre, Timbre Timbre, Andy Schaff and Lee Volbeck, who have all lost the award.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you have some familiarity with this. JFNO, what do you think of this business about being nominated for awards for your music?
Well, it is surprising, but it's understanding that it is a surprise because we don't have to subscribe ourselves to be part of this nomination. So it is a surprise, but thank you very much to suggest FET.NAT.
Yeah, no, it's good. So let's talk about this group and how you met. Who in this van have known each other the longest, if I may? Olivier?
I think it's me and Olivier.
Okay,
Yeah,
how do you know each other? Pierre-Luc?
We met, I don't even remember exactly, but we've been playing music for about 15 years almost now.
I think the significant event in our relationship was a band called J'Envoie.
Oh.
Which was prior to FET.NAT. It was a quartet, and then when that band broke up, we started FET.NAT. But this would have been 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
Oh, this was a band preceding FET.NAT.
Yes.
Okay. So
instrumental 4-piece with some friend of ours.
So how old were you two when you met?
Like 24 maybe.
In your mid-20s? Okay.
Yeah.
And Pierre-Luc, Olivier, I know you're a drummer, yes?
Yes.
A very good, great, excellent, superb drummer, if I might say.
Thank you very much.
It elevated. Did you see how it escalated? I started it good.
Yeah.
It just kept getting better.
Yeah.
Kept getting better as I described him.
Yeah.
No, fantastic drummer. Pierre-Luc, what do you play?
I play mostly guitars and bass.
Yes.
And a lot of, let's say, sampling and like designing the samples with Olivier and all the crew. And live, I'm triggering samples, drum pads, and mostly bass and guitars.
Okay, right, yeah. I've seen the band live a few times, and it's spellbinding. I love the band. I think I even shouted you out when Sloan were playing at that festival at Megafono.
That was you?
I said, yeah, you should go see FET.NAT.
Oh,
I was the MC for Sloan.
Arboretum.
Arboretum Festival.
Arboretum
Yeah.
Festival.
Remember that.
You remember that? Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I made a point
who
of...
the fuck is saying this?
Well, it was me. I'd
Well, that
seen
was
you
great.
a few times, and I was trying to get people to go see you. And yeah, I love the band. So JFNO, how did you come to enter the orbit of Olivier and Pierre-Luc?
Well, I'm native from Hull, but I moved away to Quebec City, and this is where music happened to me in Quebec City. Mostly because I'm bilingual, and in Quebec City that's kind of a rare thing. And after 11 years, I moved back to my hometown. And as I was moving back to my hometown, I was getting involved with a emergent music festival in Hull, and it was called Le Fouet, Festival de Musique Émergent de l'Outaouais.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard J'Envoie there. And they were booked on the first year of that festival, and right away for me it was like, this is the band I want to work with. And by all means, after the show I just introduced myself to Pierre-Luc, and I guess it took a few months, and they threw me up a kind of a cassette that both Olivier and Pierre-Luc recorded on their own, and I guess they challenged me to put some lyrics on what they've recorded, and this was Brunch. So then after that, we kept on working together.
Mm-hmm.
So you're primarily the vocalist and lyricist in this group?
Yes.
Okay, but it sounds to me that the whole group as an entity is kind of the producer of the songs. Is that correct? Fair to say?
I would say that. Yeah, I mean, Jeff is like what's the name, like the nucleos or catalyseur.
Catalyst, nucleus.
Yeah, like he's he's the
He gets things
the
going.
creator of
Yeah,
like the whole meat behind all the lyrics. Obviously, like, you know, I would say 99%, but the whole band, I think, participates also in like somehow curating the poetry, not all the time, but sometimes, and like giving cues to like,
Yeah.
you know, get in a direction that maybe wasn't there in the at the time he wrote the poem or something, and then just trying to direct the lyrics in a way we want it, and then he's great to react to that too.
Yeah,
if
that's
we need stuff to be rewritten or add-ons or cut and edited.
Is a lot of the vocal stuff improvised in some way, or
There's few albums that I did show up in the studio without no lyrics and just improvise on the actual music.
Poule Manche Poule would be a good example of
Yeah,
that.
I don't know. I just listen to music and music talks to me, and there's words coming out of my brain with it. So, but I'm the foundation of it is I'm really involved in the improv. I've always loved improvisation. So I guess these guys are like the best vehicle for what I like to do. So
now Pierre-Luc described what you do, JF, as a poem. He didn't say song. He said poem. You consider yourself a poet?
I don't really like books. So
You don't like books.
I don't like books.
What's wrong with books? I like books. Who doesn't like books?
There's people that likes books and there's people that don't, and I'm part of those ones that don't like books.
What is it about the books? Is it the paper? Is it the writing?
Bottom line, I'd say anybody could write anything.
Right.
So humbly, I just say I try not to get influenced by anybody through music or lyrics or
I see.
style of art. So this is what I want to. This is how I like to work: is true improvisation and being naive on what I have to do.
So if you are immersed in improvisation as a poet, as a writer, as a lyricist, as a singer, does that suggest that it's hard to decipher or determine the intent of what you're saying?
You know, I have a secret weapon. It's 19 years of professional mascot animation, so which means that I'm capable of entertaining thousands of people without saying a word.
Oh, you were a mascot? Like you wore like
a professional mascot? Yeah, I worked for the Ottawa Senators. I worked in the Canadian Football League. I work through Disney World on Ice, Sesame Street Live.
Wow.
All those.
Is this
big
for real?
Yeah, it is.
I've
for
never
real.
heard of this before.
Yeah.
You were a mascot, so you would wear the big outfits and
You would create them.
Yeah.
you would create the outfits.
I build
Sometimes,
stuff.
yeah.
I create them. I'd sell them. I had a company. I had people working for me doing that, and that's I always got attracted to the stage. Early years it was dancing. I did my classic ballet. I did ballet jazz, claquette, and so bottom line is this rhythm has always been part of me, and also movements. So I guess mascot was a way of hiding myself through a costume and experimenting,
Really?
body language.
Well, it's funny you say this. First of all, it's mind-blowing that you say this. I didn't know this. Maybe you've talked about this before. That's fascinating. But there's a certain economy and minimalism to the words you say in these pieces. Sometimes there's not a lot being said, but something's being conveyed. Do you think that's derived from this position, this profession you had, where you had to convey things wordlessly? Like, does that inform you as a writer?
A bit, and also because of our hometown. Where I grew up, it's 50-50, French and English.
Oh, yes, of course.
So my way of thinking is also bilingual. So it's easy for me to write a French that English will understand.
Right.
And at the same time, it's also easy for me to do English simple lyrics that French will understand. The way I'm speaking right now,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
Frenchy opposite, but that's how I am. And with Olivier and Pierre-Luc, they always make me feel confident about who I was and the way I was working, and it bloomed by itself.
Okay.
And now we're at this point.
Olivier, do you have any perspective on some of the lyrical themes that JF has conjured in his work as it relates to maybe the general sort of feeling of FET.NAT? You know, what you stand for, if you stand for something, so to speak. Like, does that?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because we also talk about this together. The way that I perceive JF's words, or maybe his intention, it's almost like there is never any distinction between him as a person doing whatever, sitting in this car, and him being on stage.
Yeah.
The energy level is different, but the way he represents what he sees and what he believes is always the same. It's kind of really, I don't know, natural. Is it kind of boring to say it like that?
No, it's a natural. It's less performative and more of a natural extension of his true self.
I think it is very true to who he is, and yeah, it's at some point, if you know JF very well, it becomes hard to distinguish performance stage wise and just a human doing something.
So having said that, who is JF to you?
Ooh. I don't know, but I mean,
Open the
a good
door.
friend. I think we love each other quite a lot.
Yeah, we all often say that we can't wait to see each other.
There's a lot. I mean,
Are you all in Hull?
yes.
Yes.
well,
Yeah.
he's in Ottawa.
It's
but
interesting.
doesn't count.
That question is really is interesting because it brings up this factor in the band, which we're older men.
Yes.
You know, we all have busy lives. We're all fathers, so we don't necessarily see each other outside of the band. We don't go for beers or stuff like
Yeah,
that. I
we're-
mean, we run into each other, but
The buddy part doesn't really.
Well, it's there, but
it's
not-
there.
yeah.
But we don't.
It's because of the time in your lives. It's not the way
Yeah.
it would be for younger people who have the time to get together and hang out all the time.
We did that.
Exactly.
Yeah, you've done that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in a way, it's that is fine because when we do get together, and I mean, whether we like it or not, we have to at this point because
Yeah.
we have to play these shows, right?
But,
But I mean,
We have-
no, but when we
have
do
to.
though, we're not trying to be together. We truly are together.
yes.
You know, like outside of the music, in a way where, you know, like there's the performance side to what we do, but there's also the fact that we're together, and in a way that's why we do what we do, and that's why people perceive what we do a certain way or whatever that perception is.
Right.
You know, yeah.
Pierre-Luc, do you have any insights on that line of questioning and maybe what it is that makes FET.NAT work the way it does?
Well, that natural side of things, I think that's what attracted me and Olivier to JF. The first time we saw him in a improv music night in
Right.
Hull. We were playing on the same night. We didn't know the guy, really met him once, and then I think that's what struck us, because after the fact, me and Olivier were like, without using those words, I think we understood what we just saw. That's talking about Jeff, like that natural extension of his own self.
Right.
We didn't know at the time, but there's that feeling, and I would say it's really rare that I see that, and I personally look for that in art, in mostly performance or like
Authenticity. You look for authenticity.
yeah, and not only for that, because I like other kind of stuff, but
Mhm.
when that happens, I know it's rare, and I really enjoy it. And I think all of these guys, at this time of their life, maybe in the past it was a bit different, but at this stage of their life when we met, this was all present in all of us to
Right.
different levels.
Right.
And I think for me, that what makes this experience special. I think people can think we are special as a band or whatever, but like for me, it's more from the inside. Like I know this is special for me when we do stuff together,
Right.
because of exactly that point, that natural extension of our own self, not trying to impress. And you know, the fact that I don't want to force that thing that much, but like, yes, we are a bit older and we are fathers, and being father for me changed a lot. You know, I don't want to talk.
Me too. Me too. Yeah, it changes you absolutely.
You know, where like you realize that impressing people is maybe not the point to your life.
Yes.
So it makes
that's
it
fair.
like it gets like one layer out. And it's probably not the only point being a father or being older. Like there's, also thinking about those things. Like what do you want in life? What do you want to achieve? But this all that together, I think at this stage of when we met and started music together was present.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's a big part of why it's so special.
Well, it's fascinating that you've all hit upon this notion of natural expression, effortless expression almost. Because the music you make is unlike any music I can think of. It's very unusual on some level. And I want to talk a little bit about this record, Le Mal. Oh, sorry. How do you pronounce your record's name? My French is... I won the French award in grade 8.
You pronounced it right.
Yeah. Now, why is it called Le Mal? Who wants to speak to that first of all?
Go Olivier, maybe?
Olivier?
Yeah. Le Mal is a word we borrowed from, Pierre-Luc's partner, my partner, and a friend of ours, which is friends with our partners. So these three women had this collective, which was a bit undefined, but they were creating visual arts pieces.
Yeah.
And getting together and doing some singing and stuff like that. By the way, they are the singers on the record.
They sing on Patio Monday and
So
and
that
Patio
was my
Tuesday, I suppose.
Yeah, and Your World's My Mystery.
Right,
So that would be the three of them. So Mélanie Myers, Chloé Berlanga, and Catherine Levasseur-Terrien.
Right.
So they came up with that great title, and we kind of stole it.
What does it mean to you? What does it literally mean?
It means Le Mal is, literally
The
is
evil?
the pain.
The pain.
The pain.
Yeah, word for word. That's
We
what
could
it
step out in the parking
it's
lot
between
and
the
see.
pain and the evil, I would say.
Are you threatening me? Oh my God.
That would be the pain.
I don't need to experience the pain. I've listened to the record. I don't need to get too close to it. Thank you very much. Thanks for the offer, though. No one's offered to take... That's embedded journalism. He wants me to get right in there.
Just
Okay,
a
the
little
pain.
kick in the shin.
No, I don't. My children climb into bed with me and kick me in all sorts of places. I'm fine. Okay, so it's called the pain.
So we had struggled about, not struggled, we had conversations about how to call this record. There were concepts because a lot of it comes from a performance, conceptual piece of work that we'd done prior to the record.
Right.
And the residency.
I think at one point we were playing a show, and then, it kind of rang, and we figured this is the best title for it. In a way, because it's not necessarily directly tied to the record, but just fits so well.
Okay.
It's very hard for us to understand that relationship to the record.
Well, that's fascinating because it has sort of been presented as a kind of concept record. And yet you're saying the title is sort of not associated with any conceptual framework, at least intentionally. Maybe it is now. Maybe that's open for interpretation, of course.
Well, I mean, those themes we were talking about doing that residency, that was prior to this record.
Yeah.
That led to the new composition, I would say. The title, that's why we picked the title, because the title, Le Mal, which is pain and maybe the evil, is closely linked with those conversations we had.
Right.
Artistic conversation.
Right.
Not directly, but so that's why when that came up as maybe a potential solution to our title, it was like, okay, yes, I think this is talking to us, So.
Okay. I want to go through the songs. We don't have a lot of time because you have to get loaded up here, but I want to go through the songs on this record a little bit and get you to talk a little bit about their musical and lyrical inspiration. What is the first song on the record called?
Tapis. Yeah.
That means?
Carpet. Yeah.
That's interesting in itself. Yeah. Later on, its complementary piece is Oriental Carpet, isn't it? Yes, Tapis d'Orient. Now, that's something we should address right away, is that there's two sides to this record, which is, that's normal, but they correspond, don't they? The side 2 and side 1 are kind of mirrored images, distorted mirrored images of each other, right? That's fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Tapi. First of all, musically, where did this sort of come from? How would you describe this song in terms of...
Well, I think I would say the lyrics. Maybe
What-
Jeff, you should talk about the
I
lyrics.
think the lyrics were part of another song.
Yeah.
The lyrics are, I found them, they were buried in some forgotten session
Yeah.
that we had done a long time ago. I can't exactly remember when. And they just kind of popped out. The thing about JF is, just to mention this, is that he's got a lot of words.
Yes.
So there's a lot of words scattered around, like on
Yeah,
on our things, computers, whatever.
Oh, I earlier suggested that maybe not every song has a lot of words, but you're saying there's a lot of creative ideas
Yes.
circulating.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I don't want to define exactly. I know what Jeff is saying. Maybe you could talk about that. But what's interesting about the lyrics in that song is that obviously to us at the time that they were recorded originally didn't work with what we were doing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see that, you know, many years later they pop out and they just work.
Jeff, what do you want to say about the lyrics on Tapi?
Well, usually when I show up with lyrics, I try to show up like if it's I'm provider for a fashion show or something like that. So I have the all setup of dresses, makeups, and everything, shoes, purses.
You were like the Karl Lagerfeld.
Yeah, so I open
right.
my big van and they pick and choose what they like.
Okay.
And I like what they like. And
But why carpet? What is Tapi? What is the significance
Well, you know, in
of
that tune, what Jeff is saying, and that's you know, to everybody's interpretation.
Sure.
But I think what struck us, me and Olivier, when we dig that out of his computer, was that that mix of like sadness in the theme, and somehow the jolly way or aggressive way that's been said.
Mm-hmm.
The lyrics are actually evocating a sad guy being someone rubbing metaphorically their feet on the person.
Oh, I see.
You know, as
Right.
like they were garbage for them.
Walking
you know?
all over them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was really like charged emotionally,
Mm.
but not necessarily delivered in a very charged emotional way. So that mix was really interesting. We're not always, but often looking for those kind of mix where it's somehow blurry
Mm-hmm.
because of either kind of mix.
Right.
So that's the one that for me was interesting.
Okay, let's move on in the interest of time to Patio Monday. Patio Monday, where does this song sort of come from, so to speak?
That is one song that comes from us straight up jamming.
Nice.
I remember we were at this place called the Temporaire, which we played many shows there, actually recorded a record there, and would rehearse there. And most of our songs do not come from that process, but that one did.
Mm-hmm.
So
The vocal delivery in every regard, you mentioned the backup singers. JF, your vocal attack on this is very fascinating. It's kind of up and
Yeah.
down. The song is kind of rocking back and forth in its own way. How would you describe your approach to this one?
good coaching from Pierre-Luc and Olivier, because they're the one telling me what to do.
You're helping him with the phrasing and whatnot.
And usually, like for instance, this session, I have like a place where I put all my poetry into.
Yeah.
And it's kind of anonymous. It's public, but you don't know it's my poetry.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And I pick and choose in that bank of words.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So usually I listen to the music and it talks to me, and suddenly it would connect me to a poem I did or something like that, or a thought, or any, a state of mind, and I go along with it, and usually I hit pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic song. Are the backup vocals, if you will, or the women, the female voices, it's almost like a chant. Are they saying something exactly? I can't figure that out. They're
saying what I was writing, what I wrote
a long time ago, actually.
A long time ago, and what they're saying is, there's no money, there's no honey, so no money, no honey. That's what they're saying.
Are they saying that in English?
Yes.
Yeah.
No money, no honey.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was like, did they sample this from some Afrobeat record that I don't know?
No,
or
that's
No.
them singing
That's
live.
very fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
And the patio does exist. It's my rooftop patio,
Uh-huh.
and I really enjoy that patio on every Monday evening.
Okay.
Only Monday.
Only
evening.
Monday.
Yes,
Except
yes.
later on Tuesday. We learned that there's...
Well,
Yeah.
for me, Monday is Friday.
Okay. All right, you're really blowing my mind right now. Okay, let's move on to Des fois, which my understanding is sometimes. Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
what-
Yeah. Yeah.
You say that in the song, Jeff? Right? Do you actually in English say sometimes?
Oh, now you're catching me on my...
Own lyrics.
I have to say one thing.
Did I get that wrong?
Well, no, it's not that. It's just that still today, we're on stage, and I'm asking the guys, which song are we playing? Because
And
there's
will
songs
happen
that
tonight
do
again.
have like 3 titles. Like, I show up with a poem, I gave the title to that poem.
Yes.
They have a title for their music.
Right.
And often we'll ask a friend of ours to rewrite all the titles. So sometimes in like this one, in an interview, I get asked about a song, but I don't know which song we're talking about.
Oh,
So
I
Des
see.
fois is the lyrics of the CrossFit tune.
Which is a song that was recorded but never
Yeah.
put out.
Like, okay, as you can see right now, it's not the only thing in the record, but every time you ask a question about things, I think the idea of collage
Yes.
is pretty present.
Yes.
And
It's present in the listening experience, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but not like a collage, like in a cheap way. I don't want to say that it's that good, but like it was done on purpose with
Mhm.
a lot of thoughts behind.
Mm-hmm.
But there is an aspect of collage in this record, but with themes and minds and music themes and also
Yeah.
lyric themes, you
Yeah.
know. So we had to re-record stuff, but there was stuff already present that we stole from ourselves. You know?
Right, I understand. So
Yeah.
there's JF may not know when he said this
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
what his idea was at the time.
Exactly.
It might have been
It
years
fits in that-
ago,
exactly.
but you're
Yeah.
grabbing it and putting it in this.
Isn't it great?
That is great. So even as you're on stage, you'll have to kind of conjure something.
Well, less than before,
Right.
but it's still happening.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, it did happen.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to say anything about the intent here then, or does the
well,
collage?
therefore, I think like the most interesting part to me, that's like to personally, is that like kind of a sad birthday,
Yeah.
kind of thing, especially with the saxophone that were recorded at the end. It kind of like really closed the deal on the aesthetic that we were looking for, where like the really anti-saxophone playing with like the
okay.
yeah. Like it's kind of bad saxophone unintentionally, and for me it reminded me, and that's really that was not the intention of the band, but for me that the image I was Leo in Twin Peaks at his birthday.
Oh, I see.
Well,
looking for new shoes.
it's a
So-
very deflated song.
Yeah,
Right.
you know,
and it's also
so-
very public. So this idea of a party
yeah.
totally works.
Yeah, like
Right.
a failing party in a way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It could be
Yeah.
a very boring bus ride.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. I appreciate this. Okay. We have to move on to Soft Purse.
That is another old song. Well, should I say this?
Sure.
Yeah.
Soft Purse comes from like really old stuff.
Yeah. That you recorded actually.
It comes, you know, Last X.
That's
Yes.
Soft Purse comes before Last X, and in some ways is kind of.
Well, this is projects ago for you.
Yeah, but I think this was a thing that I'd made and whatever. Aesthetically, it doesn't really correlate to the rest of the record, but Pierre-Luc had the good idea of putting it on. I don't know why, but it works.
It's just I found it on my computer while doing like the skeletons of the tunes at one point, and it just was a nice refreshener. I felt in the whole pretty dry kind of electronic apocalyptic sound,
but
like it was like a little more grungy
Yes.
thing,
Yes.
and I felt like it was well deserved spot.
But this was not released via Last X, was it?
No, it was
No,
never
never
released.
released.
Okay.
No.
This is
No.
just something that was in your archives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just mentioned that because I think thinking about it, that piece kind of led to the aesthetic of Last X. Anyway, it's just a aside.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
Okay.
irrelevant, really.
And what about the lyrical intent? Do you have anything to say about this?
There's no lyrics on
There's
it.
no lyrics,
Yeah,
right?
No,
yeah.
you do
So-
sing, but the mic is off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Is
I
that
guess
right?
It's my participation in that is dancing.
Dancing.
Yeah.
Okay. So when
Yes.
you do it live, you will dance.
Yeah, we don't even do it live.
Don't
Yeah.
even do it
Yeah,
live.
it's
Okay.
just like an
Okay.
interlude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what is the final song on side one called?
Your world is my mystery gift.
Let's get connected to more brain. Let's get connected to relational. Nou, je peux dichtbij. Als je wilt zeggen, je m'en fout.
It's my mystery gift. Can we keep it that way? Your world is my mystery gift.
Can we keep it that way?
Your World is My Mystery Gift. That's an interesting title.
Mm-hmm.
What does that
Mhm.
mean?
I
Jeff
guess
is
I'm
the-
the guy that is responsible for this sort of poem.
Sort of poem.
Well, it is a poem, but at the same time, it is a thought of mine. Like that's how I see things,
Okay.
and through my vocabulary, I try to paint the idea of I want to share my universe because your universe is interesting to me. So it's sort of like a message to let's trade our spaces.
With
Okay.
generosity.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah.
Okay. What about musically? What do you want to say about it? Who wants to speak on its music?
This one, actually, at first, Olivier, if I remember correctly, we were even thinking it could be only like a spoken word tune,
That's true.
because I think the lyrics were very strong, and we really liked that poem, and we're like, can we actually come up with something that will be supporting correctly? And took us a bit of time. So it really started with Jeff's lyrics on this one. It's actually, this one was a catalyst of the whole album too.
Oh,
In
interesting.
a way where, there's a little dystopian approach, but very loving and very generous. So that mix was interesting. And then, yeah, musically we came up with a few fails before, and then Olivier took like the pieces and bits of that and made a great groovy, dark, weird tune.
Now, all right, I appreciate that response. Just in the interest of time, unfortunately, I think we should
Yeah, I think
sort of
it's
we have to get going soon here. There's a band playing, so we have a bit of time, clearly. But let's encapsulate why the second side is, as I said earlier, a distorted mirror of the first. What's the concept here, if there is one, in terms of relating side 2 to side 1?
Do you want to go ahead?
for me, let's go quickly, everyone. Like for me, it's kind of like like being stuck in a video game idea. Like it's broader than that, but like I would say this is one aspect of it.
Because the
where
interpretation is a
dystopian-
MIDI. Is it a MIDI
Yeah,
interpretation?
it's a MIDI
Yeah.
interpretation. So it's kind of like that where you feel stuck in a digital world, but we didn't want to use those codes or like, you know, phones and internets. Like this is not what we wanted to say. It was more broader than that. Like getting lost in
Why does that dystopian video game world interest you?
because I think I mean slowly the world's going there
We're
anyway.
becoming more automated.
Yeah, in a weird way. I mean, this was our science fiction idea,
Right.
You know, it's
Okay.
a creation, but Olivier, maybe you.
Well, also in practice, it's interesting because it exposes a form of failure in the process where our intention was to make a full record of this MIDI approach. Which, by the way, I think, just to clarify, when we talk about MIDI, I've realized in interviews, people kind of think it happens in the computer, but we're actually playing MIDI instruments.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're performing. The idea of performing with these MIDI devices is to make it very unnatural to us, which correlates to what Pierre-Luc was just talking about in some ways. But we kind of failed to
create as many tracks as we wanted to, let's say.
well, yeah, I mean, either not that we failed, but it's almost like our concept failed.
Right.
We couldn't generate enough interest over time, over the process.
Yeah.
Right.
So we
Okay. You said 8:40. We're with Vish in the van. We're coming right now. Okay. Bye.
Oh.
Whoa.
We gotta go.
Okay. Let's drive. Let's drive over there.
Let's try. Just is this in any way insightful? to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Why wouldn't it be?
I don't know because it's hard for us to talk about these songs because we don't really think about these things really when we're making them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's the point of this exercise.
Uh-huh.
Is to get you thinking about it a little bit and get people. I think it's insightful. I hope so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're clearly moving now. We're moving towards your show. So I will wrap up as we go. I want to thank you for this time.
Thank you.
Thanks to you.
What is next for this band then? You seem to have concepts. Are you already working towards the next record?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We do have. We got some pretty fun ideas.
They're not developed completely yet, but
yeah.
you know they're
Okay.
there. They're there, and they're exciting to us at this point.
Okay.
Which
All
was
right.
not always the case for every record, but this time we're pretty excited about this.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Now, is there one song that I can play for people right now so they can get a sense of what we're talking about from this record? From Lamal, I mean. Sorry, not,
Yeah.
not the new thing. What would you select?
I think like one for me that hasn't been played a lot is that one we're saying, like the Sad Birthday. Des fois, for me, is a special track. It's a bit longer, but
Sure.
hasn't been played as much as the Patio Monday and Tapis, and I think it deserves to be played.
Okay. Let's go
Okay.
out with that.
Yeah,
This is
okay.
Des fois by FET.NAT. Thank you so much again for your time. Best
Thank
luck with
you.
everything going forward, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks to you.
Okay.
Thanks to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
sometimes. Time stands still, hope it will. Hope it will still sometimes. Practice, practice, practice it will. Hope it will. Practice, hope it will.
Merci beaucoup again to Olivier, Pierre-Luc, and JFNO of FET.NAT for appearing on this, the 494th episode of Creative Control, which is a part of the Entertainment One podcast network and available on every podcast platform you can name. It's also on Spotify and Audio Boom and YouTube and all sorts of things. If you can't find an episode you're looking for, or if you want to learn more about me and sign up for my regularly scheduled newsletter, please visit my site, vishkana.com. You can like Creative Control on Facebook, follow the show on Twitter at VishCreative, or follow me at Vishkana. You can also listen to a radio show version of Creative Control on Wednesdays at noon Eastern Standard Time, around the world at CFRU.ca, or on an actual radio at 93.3 FM if you're in or near Guelph. Also, please visit patreon.com/Creative Control to make a flexible monthly donation to keep this podcast going. I would love to make this work at least a viable part-time job. It's something I do because I feel like I have to, and because I feel like it needs to be done. I don't know why I do it. Don't make me tell you why. Well, you didn't do it. I'm doing it myself. Anyway, I like doing it. I like to do more of it and feel comfortable doing it. So if you'd like to help in that regard, go to patreon.com/Creative Control. And again, Creative Control is spelled with a K at the beginning of creative and a K at the beginning of control. 2 Ks. Visit patreon.com/Creative Control. Thanks again to Pizza Trokadero, The Bookshelf, Planet Bean Coffee, and Grandad's Donuts for their in-kind support of the show. As always, thanks to my old friend Jim Guthrie. He lets me use some music of his on this show, and you can learn more about Jim at jimguthrie.org. And finally, thank you very much for listening to this podcast and subscribing to it and telling your friends to do the same. It means the world. I will talk to you very, very soon. Goodbye for now.